Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mel Robertson, and I'd like to welcome you to Happiness is Your Own Damn Fault. What we're talking about is how to drop the baggage, increase your frequency, and live a bliss-filled life. Now, I decided to put this summit together because I want you to know that happiness is equally available to everyone, no matter the circumstances that you've endured. So no matter what you've been through, you can choose happiness now. Happiness is your birthright. It is your natural state of being underneath all the baggage you've been dragging around with you for all those years. So I wanted to interview people who are truly happy and get them to share with you their secrets on how they let go of the past, stopped worrying about the future, and started living their bliss. And today, I am so excited to welcome Sharon Hess. And I chose her because she believes that if you want to change the world, you have to start by changing your world. Now, Sharon Hess is an intuitive money healer, spiritual advisor, author, and speaker. While creating and then running million-dollar businesses, Sharon was also studying and teaching spiritual principles. She combined her talents and now takes high-level esoteric principles and blends them with business strategies and processes to help conscious entrepreneurs discover their full abundance potential. She is well known for the love, humor, and compassion she always shares. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thanks so much for being here. Before we jump in, you want to take a minute just to talk about a little bit more about your background and how you came to do what you do?
Okay. Well, my story, and that's all it is, my story, okay? But I always, throughout my life, I would make other people extremely wealthy, and I would do it as an employee, and, you know, that had to do with my own self-worth and value issues, okay? And what would happen is I wouldn't take the risk, and what I mean by that is that's why I love doing startups because I like creating something from nothing, okay? But I would do it. I wanted the paycheck. I wanted knowing how much money I had coming in. So I wouldn't take the risk. I didn't trust, right? And then, of course, the person who takes the risk gets the higher reward, and then I would be pissed off because I helped someone else create all this money in my brain, okay? I was helping them create all this money, and, you know, it's like, where's mine? Which really wasn't true, right? That was kind of like my agreement. I just wasn't seeing it that way. So I left one of the last companies that I helped start in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. I left there, and I was going to do my own thing, and someone else offered me yet another opportunity to create a business for them and pay me a salary. So I left New Orleans and I went to Indiana to start yet another company for someone else. The interesting thing is I can see now, you know, how the universe guides you and leads you to where you're supposed to go. And I really needed to get out of it's where I had lived my whole life and was entrenched in it. It was really easy to leave, though, because post-Katrina it was a lot different than it had been the whole time I lived there. But anyway, so I went and I did that. And then the recession hit. This was like in 2009. And I got laid off. So here I am in a new city. I didn't have, like, my quote-unquote, like, friend support because I had just the people that I had met within, you know, the last couple of months. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So I thought, well, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time, right? And so I decided, okay, and it was a print and mail company that did automotive mail. So I said, well, I can broker the mail, all right? I know this business inside and out. But I had a non-compete. So I had a year that I couldn't do it legally, right? So I decided that, okay, well, I'll just start putting things together and I'll just enjoy myself and, you know, do whatever. And I saw this video. It was an email that I got, and they were supporting a friend, and the guy in the video said, because of the recession, people aren't buying for the same reasons they used to. And it was a program, so I signed up for it because I thought, well, if there's new marketing stuff out there, I need to know this, right?
Yeah.
And the first call that I got on, they talked about business, and then he had this woman on, and then he actually got into, like, spiritual counseling with her. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, people actually do that in their business? because my, I had facilitated a Course in Miracles, and that was the beginning of my spiritual path, and I had done all these spiritual studies, but I, like a lot of people, I had this disconnect. Not realizing that when I became successful in business was when I was doing all my spiritual stuff, right? So that kind of started. So I sat there and I kind of like, I never forget, I remember like looking up at this, kind of looking up at the heavens and going, okay, so you're telling me there's something here. And so that was my moment of realizing and recognizing that the only disconnect was the one that I had put there. And so that's when I just decided, well, I'm going to do a whole different thing. Now, of course, when I first set up my business for myself, I thought I was a sales coach because I had always trained and, I had been like, taught sales to other people, right? So I had the first coach that I had said, okay, so gun to the head, if you had to write a report, a 30-page report by Friday, what would it be on? I said sales and marketing, of course, right? So I set myself up as a sales coach, and it didn't work. And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, okay, so this is kind of weird, okay? I don't know why. And I'll never forget my first tagline was spirituality, practicality, massive sales. And I, so didn't resonate with that, all right? So then I thought, okay, so maybe the reason it's not working is because I know business inside and out, right? I've helped people create million-dollar businesses from the ground floor, right? And I thought, well, okay, so maybe it's because I'm not bringing all of my business stuff in. So I'm a business coach. And it didn't work. And then I thought, well, okay, there's something really kind of screwy, crazy here. And then I thought, well, people love my inspirational posts on Facebook. I know. I'm a success coach. And it didn't work, right? So you people who are listening, this is a good lesson in don't give up, okay?
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to try. You have to figure out what's not going to work to get you to the point of what will work. Yeah, and,
absolutely.
it's our ego stubbornness, right? So so I finally sat back and I remember just going, I don't know what the hell I do. But I surrender. And obviously, I'm trying to figure it out, right? And I'm trying to do it from a point of view of what I've learned along the way, and maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So when I surrendered, one of the first things I did was I did an Akashic record reading, and I do that now myself because it was so powerful for me. That's part of what I do in my first blush healing session as I go into the Akashic Records, and that's your soul's record in history and how your soul wants you to create. So I'll never forget, the words were, you don't have healer anywhere in your business. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And to me, it was like what I thought a healer was supposed to be was, like the hands-on, And, it's like a lot of things we do is a healer. A healer is someone who helps you experience yourself in a different way. Real estate agents are healers, right? I mean, seriously, they help you find your space. So it's kind of like but you need to own what it is that you actually do, okay? And I had done what I was doing my whole life. I mean, I was really being who I am at soul level. I just wasn't monetizing it for myself because of my own value and self-worth issues. So once I had worked through all of that, and, it's something that we continue to work on. Listen, you don't grab the brass ring and that's it. Woohoo, it's wonderful. Because we continue to learn and do things and get it on a deeper level. But what I will say is that now that I've stepped into doing what it is that I truly do, and I've done it for a while, that, I continue to heal and grow and expand, but I don't struggle the way that I used to, because I've learned to recognize, it's like I've learned to recognize when it's my ego trying to just keep me safe, and I get that, it wants to keep me safe. And I don't know why I'm compelled to say this right now, but early on, it's like when I first started studying A Course in Miracles, I thought, I have to kill my ego. That's the problem. My ego is the problem, and it's got to die,
Yes, edging God out, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But your ego is a part of you, okay?
Yeah.
It's a very large human part of you. So it's not about killing it. It's about controlling it.
Yeah.
And I always say the ego is a wonderful servant and a terrible master. So it's about not letting it rule you and recognizing when it's just about wanting to keep you safe, separating you from your divinity, which is where your abundance lies, right? Yeah. And really just you being the master of your experience. And, as a divine being, we came here to experience this human experience and enjoy it. And we're the ones that create the struggle. And when we can let that go and we start looking at our businesses and our lives from the perspective of recognizing the powerful co-creator that we are because of our divine being, then the struggle goes away, and that's where the bliss comes into play.
Absolutely. I love that. Thanks so much. So why is it important for us to be authentic and do what we love?
Well, it's kind of interesting because a lot of times it's like we convince ourselves that we're being authentic when we're really not. I see it in my clients all the time, right? And it's like, but the reason that we do that is because we think that who we are is not good enough. And here's the thing, okay, so, and I'll just digress here for a moment. It's like on the highest level, right? For me, God, when I say, I always laugh, I say, I use the G word.
I do
too. But some people have a problem with it, and I get that because, like, my husband's a recovering Catholic, right?
Right.
And to them, God denotes this big, guy in the sky that, judges everyone, and you get to do this, and you don't get to do that, and that's so not what God is. So a lot of people, though, because of their religious background upbringing, the word God is totally not what God is. So they're more comfortable using the word universe, source, higher power. So just, use whatever works for you. But for me, God is just total unconditional love energy. I was trying to put all those three words together and it didn't work. But it's so, and this unconditional love energy, extended itself and created us. So, but the Course's terminology, I love it. I can't put it any better myself. In a tiny mad instant, we took ourselves seriously, and we thought that we separated from God.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's why we have this dual thought system. Yes, I'm a beautiful, wonderful co-creator with God, and then the ego, no, you're just this body. That's it. You better keep this body safe because that's what's important.
Right.
And the miracle, and of course, in miracles, by the way, is when you shift away from that ego back into your divine understanding of who and what you truly are.
I love that.
So if we can understand that, then we can understand that when we're in this struggle, when we're in this, I've got to do it this way, and we think we're being authentic, but we're really doing it the way that we think we're supposed to or the way that we've been taught, or we're looking at all these rules from other people and we're taking into consideration like what we think people want us to be, and there's no way you can ever know what somebody else wants you to be, right? So,
no way.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like if you would just be tap into, your divinity, your divine self, and bring your divinity into humanity by by doing what you feel good about, not from your ego sense, right, but from your divine sense and really who you are on soul level, then you can create whatever you want.
Absolutely.
But we don't believe that.
No, we don't.
We don't believe it. So we just do all kinds of crazy things to try and figure it out. And it's really when you lay down the battle inside. Just lay down that battle inside and really just kind of like it's like relaxing into it. Just relax into it. Now, are you going to have to do things that you probably, I'm going to say, don't want to do? And it's really just your ego tells you, no, you don't want to do that. That's uncomfortable. Because it's like we all have to market our business, right?
Right.
But it's like you're the one that makes it seem like it, and I don't mean you personally, okay? I mean, I do it, okay? It's like, oh man, that's a pain in the rump because I got to go do this, that, and the other. But if you look at it from a different perspective, like, okay, so in order to serve, people have to know that you exist, right? So it's not really that unpleasant to go write that email, go write that article, do the things that you need to do so that people know you exist. It's really not that hard. But we make it hard because we really are hiding.
Yeah.
We really want to just listen, and here's why, okay? We think that people judge us. Maybe they do, but so what?
Right.
We put so much pressure on ourselves. Oh, no, it has to be perfect. Why?
Right.
How you are is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, but it's like, do you think God creates ugly? I mean, God created you. You're wonderful. You're perfect. You're beautiful in whatever regards that you are. It's like I keep saying, it's like who you are on that soul level is perfect and beautiful and divine.
Yeah, absolutely. We are. We just forget that we go through life forgetting that we were created by the almighty creative source that created the universe, that created the planets, that holds the stars in alignment. And, I know I like to think about it this way. It's like, God created this beautiful universe and created all these animals and plants that are totally self-sustaining. They always find food. They always find everything they need, and all their needs are taken care of. And we don't even believe that we're even cared for as much as the animals and the birds of the planet. You know what I mean? We don't even think our needs will be provided for.
It's funny, what pops in my head is the old saying about, God created man in his own image, and then man returned the favor.
Right?
Yeah, because, if it's not, I love the beginning of a course says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
That is
nothing
so
real
true.
Nothing real can be threatened.
Nope.
Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Yeah, because we think that the stuff that we make up and create, I call it miscreation, right? And we miscreate a lot. But here's the thing, it's okay.
Right?
It's okay.
It's absolutely okay.
It doesn't, it's funny, I said one time what happens in the third dimension stays in the third dimension, right? because it's not going to change anything eternal, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's
none
the
of
whole
it's real,
is,
none of it matters.
Exactly. But that's where we mess up. And in our businesses, we think that we have to, and don't get me wrong, it's like there are rules that we have to abide by. I love it. I saw Wayne Dyer when he was at Celebrate Your Life here in Phoenix a couple of years ago, and he was talking about, he said, he says, you do have to fill out the forms. He says, I went and did yoga this morning. I'm Wayne Dyer, big deal. I had to fill out the form.
Right.
Right? We do have to pay our taxes, right? So there are certain rules within society, that you have to abide by. But then the other things, it's like we make up these things in our head that it's so important, and that, oh my God, we have to do it this way. Why? In reality, we all have our own gifts. But for some reason, it's like we look at other people's gifts and we think, oh, well, that's way sexier. And, ooh, well, people really need that. And, well, you're doing something that somebody really wants to buy, And it's not true.
Mm-mm.
We all have our own gifts. It's like years ago you used to always say, hey, listen, if we were all brain surgeons, who would pick up the garbage?
Seriously. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's like, yeah.
Right, and when you're looking at someone else, say, oh, I wish I had that gift, or, you got what you got because that's all you need to do what you do and serve your mission on the planet. Like, you got everything you need to do what you need to do. You don't need, everybody else got what they needed, so just don't compare. You got everything that you needed, now let your light shine.
Exactly, but because we're so afraid that we're not good enough and that what we have is not enough. It's that whole not enough, and it's interesting because the reason I do money is my doorway, right? But it shows up in money a lot, and the reason it falls into the money category, money is one of the best spiritual teachers there is on earth, okay, is because that really does have a lot to do with value and worth and what we place on ourselves, right, with value and worth.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great segue to actually ask you, why is there nothing spiritual about being poor?
Well, think about this, okay? If you are an extension of God, okay, and if you can tap into your divinity, right, why wouldn't you want to create abundance?
Exactly.
A lot of times spiritual people get stuck on this whole, it's more important to feel bliss. Why can't you have both?
Right.
I was going to say, if you, sit and listen, it's really about, we're all connected, right? Like you said, we all have our own gifts and we all have our own stuff to do. So, but if your gig is to sit on a mountaintop and, navel gaze, fine, that's wonderful. But you came here into this human experience to experience being human as a divine being.
Yes.
Right? It's like you're a soul in a body. You're not a body with a soul.
I'm glad you said that, because I was just going to say that. We have this, mistake that we're a body that has a soul, but we're really a soul who's just using a body right now. So I love that you said that.
Exactly. So all right, so let's say that you're doing your spiritual practices, and it's like, like you can really bliss out, and you're like floating on the ceiling, and it's like, oh, it's wonderful. And then you get your light bill, and you're like, oh, crap, I can't pay this. What am I going to do? That's not a very blissful feeling, right?
No.
There's nothing spiritual about not creating in form, all right? And I love the saying that, God sends you money through people. God is not going to send you a check in the mail, all right? So there are certain things that you need to do. And listen, if you're like sponging off of other people, how spiritual is that? It's not. You have the wherewithal to do what you need to do. Excuse me.
Oh, certainly.
So, and I love this. I always say this, Mother Teresa took a vow of poverty. But she had I'm going to say millions, probably billions of dollars at her disposal. She didn't have the wealth personally. But guess what? None of us do. When you die, when you lay this body down, you don't take it with you. I have never seen a U-Haul truck riding behind a hearse. Right? So we put but the whole thing is, the more money you have, the more experiences you can have while you're here.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the more peaceful and joyful you can be.
Mm. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to create money? Money, there is
Absolutely.
nothing, money is not a four-letter word. There is nothing wrong with it. And you
No.
can, if you have a spiritual business, you can use money as a measuring stick. When you are totally connected to your divinity and you are bringing it here and you are using your divine gifts to the fullest, it's going to show up in your bank account. And it's kind of interesting because now listen, like I say, you really shouldn't do things just for the money, okay? But it's okay to make money doing what you do that you love. It's kind, it's kind of like that double-edged sword thing. But we kind of mix it all up, and we don't look at it from the right perspective.
Mhm.
Money's not bad. Money's just an energy exchange, and that's kind of hard for people to understand because you look at like somebody hands you $100 bill, you're going to look at it and go, yeah, this is $100. But it's really, what does it mean? What's the meaning behind it?
Exactly. I know. I think we just have so many limited money beliefs. It's like we're so indoctrinated by traditions and religions that the belief of being rich or having money means that you can't be connected to God because nobody who's rich can inherit the kingdom of heaven. We have all this negative stuff piled on us that puts us in the opposite direction of what we're really here to do.
Well, I think the difference there is, it's interesting when you said that, because I do know, in the Bible where it says, it's easier for a rich man to get into heaven, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the things in the Bible, the original Bible was the Peshitta, and it's written in Arabic, and a lot of it is misinterpreted. Okay? So, but when you said that, what popped into my head was the fact that what that means is that if you are putting material wealth above your divine connection, then you're not in heaven. See, I believe heaven and hell is right here on earth. Okay.
Yep, they're within you.
So how can you have a heavenly experience here? Okay, if you're always about the money, and it's interesting because there are people with money who have money wounds. It's like okay, so because they don't have that spiritual divine connection, they're not living heaven, they're in hell because the money is more important. It's like, oh my God, I got to get the next, there's a brand new car out, I got to go get it. And they have that momentary rush and high, and then they feel like shit again because they're not connected to their divine self. So they can't spend money fast enough or furious enough. They're constantly seeking something. So they don't have the whole connection here, right? But because of that, we look at that and we think, oh, well, people with money are bad. Well, if you're judging that, what are you saying to the universe? I don't want money because people with money are bad, and I don't want to be a bad person, so don't ever give me money. Right?
Right.
And here's the thing. Listen, the universe is responsive. What you tell the universe you want, it's going to abide by. You're the one in control. You're the one doing all of this. And we don't like to hear that because we don't like what's showing up. We don't want to be responsible. But guess what? If you're responsible, then you can change it.
Yes. There's
That's
freedom
the
and
beauty of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
that's
may
the
feel
beauty
like
of it.
shit at times, but it's beautiful when you can take responsibility and feel empowered and take charge of your life.
Exactly, because you are the one creating all of this.
Yeah,
so you have to really pay attention. It's interesting because it's like something that I did last week, and somebody said, oh, well, when you send me the money PayPal, just put it as family and friends. Because that way you don't have to pay the the percentage to PayPal as a business thing. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, that's not congruent energetically.
Yeah.
And I said, to me, I am thankful that PayPal exists.
Yep.
you know? So why would I not want to pay them their 3% so that they can stay in business? Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that bargains are bad. You know, like I love finding a good bargain. But when I find a good bargain, it means that company or that person has agreed to put it out there. But if you're trying to get something over on a company or something, you know, it's not energetically congruent. So what are you telling the universe?
Right.
You know, you have to pay attention to what are you telling the universe.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
So I want to touch base for a minute as we're coming to a close, because this summit is about what it means to live a bliss-filled life. So I'd like to just talk to you and have you share what it means for you to live a bliss-filled life, you personally, and what that's been like for you.
Well, I think I've kind of shared some of that along the way. But for me, it's like I said, I believe heaven and hell's here on earth. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like if you can, you know, to be blissful doesn't mean floating around on the ceiling, not experiencing life. You know, it's like if you're, let me think of how to say this. It's like if you're, okay, it dawned on me that it's not about not experiencing the very world that you want to help heal. So it's you want to participate in all the wonders and beauty and fabulous things within this world while understanding that it's not eternal. Mm. But that doesn't mean that you can't experience it.
Exactly. I love that. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't know what else to say about that.
That's just perfect.
Yeah, you know, being divine, it's like if you're bringing your divinity into humanity, right, you have to walk your spiritual path with your feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. Why else did you come here, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fun. You know, to me, it's all about having fun while you're doing it.
Exactly. If you're not having fun and your little kid's not doing a happy dance inside, then don't be doing it. That's what I
Exactly.
So, Sharon, before we wrap up, I understand that you have a free gift that you want to offer to our listeners. Did you want to take a minute to talk about that?
Yes, it's a report, an ebook, but I also put it on audio because I know that a lot of people, you know, we learn in different ways, and then also if you have an audio, you can, you know, like have it on your MP3, listen to it wherever you are. But it's called Attracting Abundance, and it's for heart-conscious entrepreneurs guide. And what I talk about in it is 3 things that you have to know within your business, and really I guess it could be in your life. You don't have to be in business for yourself for this to hold true, okay? But it's about what you need to look at and some of the things that we do to block our abundance and ways to overcome that so that you can start attracting the abundance that you want. And that's on my website, SharonHess.com.
Perfect. And then for everybody listening, there's a link in the email that came out with you to listen to this interview so you can take advantage of Sharon's free gift. Thanks so much. Do you have any parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners before we close?
Let's see. Parting words of wisdom, I guess, would be don't take yourself so seriously and just, you know, have fun with it and allow yourself. That's the biggest thing is we don't allow ourselves to be who we truly want to be. And you know what? When you're being who you truly want to be, you can't help but be abundant.
No, you can't. And you can't help but be happy and joyful.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I just want to take a moment to just remind everyone that, you know, happiness, it's an inside job, and it's equally available to everyone. We're living in a time now where we can choose to drop whatever baggage we've been carrying around. We can drop the old stories. It starts with a simple choice. You are powerful beyond measure, and all you need to do is tap into the divine power that created you and follow the guidance you're given. You were born to be happy, experience joy, and live an abundant, blissed-out, spacious life. And I want to hear from you and what you thought about this interview today, so hit reply and share your thoughts with me. Sharon, again, it was so amazing having you here, and thank you for being a part of the summit with me.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.